So I'm pulling out a pot here. We're gonna make a pot of rice. The way I make rice, you guys, I wanna make some jasmine rice because I'm gonna do stir-fried rice later in the week and try to get that filmed to show you guys how to make one of my favorite quick meals, which is just fried rice, Chinese fried rice. This is the rice that I use to do it. Everybody's so particular about it. One thing that I like about using rice that isn't converted is how easy it is. If I use a rice that's not Uncle Ben's, I don't have to measure the water, and I don't have to measure the rice, and I don't have to care about any of it. And I'm gonna show you guys how you do that. We're just gonna pour. I've done this so much, I know about how much rice I need to pour in there. I'm gonna pour that much rice in here, and I'm gonna meet you guys over at the sink, and we're gonna wash it, and we're gonna get this going. Okay guys, we got a pot of rice. As you can see, I don't know how much rice is in there. I'm gonna fill it up with water. And you wanna scrub it between your hand and just on each other. Can you see how the water turns milky? You gotta pour all that water off of it. And we're gonna rinse this until we get it completely as clear as we can within reason. So we'll just continue washing this. I'm gonna just go through the process right now and show you. That way you guys can see how long it takes to do it. I'm using warm water, you guys. You can use cold water, whatever kind. That's not so important. What's important is that we keep rinsing this until we get all that starch off of it. Now, as you're doing this, you can think about, oh, well, this is the reason why all the companies started doing converted rice, or doing a parboiled rice, or an enriched rice, because it takes this step out of the process. I tell you, we're one of the few countries in the world that don't know about washing our rice and don't take time to do it. Almost every other country in the world expects to do this, and it's just we haven't had to do it here in the States. And it's something I think a lot of people just misunderstand, or they've never had to do it. But you only have to wash these rices that are like just original one source rices, like jasmine, or a risotto rice, like an arborio, or basmati, or any of those rices. I would even wash wild rice. Any of that's going to have that film on it, that starch layer. Okay, we're getting pretty close. This water is looking pretty close here to being clear. It's not 100%, but we're almost there. So I'm going to put water in it now. And I'm going to stop right there because I want to show you guys. Okay, as you can see, there's our rice. You can see at the corner there, at the side, how much water. You got to hold this flat so you can tell. Now, this is the Asian way of measuring rice. It doesn't matter what size your pot is. You can see this is a fairly large pot. It doesn't matter how much rice I've put in the pot. I just need to stick my finger at the edge, and my finger needs to go down and touch the top of the rice. So if I come over here, I'm just trying to find some place I can show you guys. And don't touch the camera. That's another important thing. Let's get that put back. I'll go down here. If you put your finger in it and you touch the top of the rice, if you can see my knuckle, where that joint is in my knuckle, down to the bottom. Now I'm a man, I have man hands. See that joint down to the bottom. On a person with regular sized fingers, you want it to that first knuckle. I always err on the side of mine being a little dry. I'd rather my rice be a little dry than a little soggy. So I will measure it so that it's not, I'm going to pour a little of that out. I don't want mine to come all the way up to that joint, to this joint right here in my finger. See right, that fold? I'm going to measure it so that I'm just below that, about that much water above the rice. And that's all you need to do. As long as you have that much water in the pot, we're going to put the lid on this. I'm going to go put it on the stove, and we're going to cook that. So hold on one second. We'll get over to the stove. I'm like my grandmother. She used to sit at the stove all the time and cook. Anyway, I just put the pot up here. I'm going to turn on the oven on high. Get that going here and put this on it. The way we're going to do this is only going to cook for about between 10 and 15 minutes total. I have the heat on high as it will go. I want to get this up to a boil. I'm going to open the lid one time to check it and see if it's boiling. I'm going to turn down the heat all the way down to low and let it go for like the last 5 minutes, and then I'm turning the heat off. I won't open the lid at all to look at this, to stir it, to do anything. I want to keep all that water in there and allow it to steam. Okay, you might be saying, this is a lot of work to make a pot of rice. I feel like it's less work because it's really, really easy. I rinsed the rice. I didn't measure the rice because it doesn't matter. I put water in the pot. It doesn't matter how much water I put in the pot as long as I get it to this crease right here in my finger, and your finger is probably about right there because I go a little bit less on mine because I got big hands. So I always go like right below that crease. So I would say a standard sized person could measure to their first knuckle and they're going to be fine. You're going to test this out and you're going to see. But in other words, it's effortless because you don't have to say, oh, well, I want to do 2 cups or I want to do this. You can put 2 cups in there. You still don't have to measure the water, or you can make 1 cup of rice. You still don't have to measure. You just put your finger in the pot, and if you got that much water from where the rice starts up to where the crease in your finger is, you're golden. You put the lid on it, you get it boiling, you turn it down on low, let it simmer on low 5 minutes, turn the heat off, walk away. For you guys staging your meals, I would say this is the first thing you do. Often, rice will be the first thing I put on, even before I do any of the vegetables or anything else. I'll get the rice washed, get it on the stove, start it, put it on high. I'll pay attention, like now, until I know that it's boiling, because I'm going to open it and check to see if it's boiling. Once it's boiling, I'm going to turn that heat down, and I'm going to let it go. So anyway, I think it's easier because you just kind of forget about it and it sits on the stove, and then when you're ready to eat, you take off the lid, you fluff it up, and everybody gets to eat rice and you're fine. I'm making this pot early because I'm going to make fried rice later, and I want to put this in the fridge. I'll cook it. I want it to cool completely down to room temperature. There's a couple recipes that you can use. One of the main ones I use is for fried rice, but you can make rice pudding. You can make arancini, which are rice balls. that are deep fried. There's all kinds of things you can do. We're going to talk about one basic one later, which is the stir-fried rice, which is why I'm doing this. Gotten a lot of comments about my stove. And without standing up, I'll kind of show you guys. It has this cover that goes over it, but then it also has this lid, this shelf that goes like this. This kind of like a warming shelf. This was built in 1951. It is a O'Keefe and Merritt. It was built in Los Angeles, California. I purchased it in Las Vegas, Nevada. It has not been restored. I worked a little bit on the gas. Luckily, I'm able to do some projects around the house here, and I got a little gas detector, and I cleaned off the orifices and adjusted the flames and did all that. So I can do all the basic maintenance. Some point in the future, I hope to take it and get it all re-chromed and get these re-enameled, just get it restored. These old appliances work better than new ones, and they just never break down, and they're easy to repair, and you can keep them going and going. Essentially, I could make this oven last 200 or 300 years if I take care of it. And that leads me into sort of talking to you about South Carolina and my choice to come back here. Some of you may know me personally, others may not. I traveled all over the world and essentially most of America, working in theater and in film doing costuming, which has taken me to lots of different metropolitan areas and cities. And I've carried my Southern culture with me when I went, and I've always been Southern, but I love other cultures, and I love being absorbed in them and learning about other places. And while that was all great, and that's fine and dandy, and I'll go into some of that later in a different video, I'll say that I was tired and I was burnt out. It's a lot of work. It's a lot to travel and to go and to always be on and to work 14 and 15-hour days, and it's just a lot on a person. So I chose to come back to South Carolina, and I chose to simplify and live a slower life or a simpler life. That means growing my own food. That means cooking dinners the way that they used to be cooked, spending time with friends and with family. And COVID's kind of put a stop to that, but being more social and living like people used to, purposefully, that's the word, purposefully, like people used to live, possibly when I was a child or before, just like in the old days, slowing down in life. I have an affection for those type of things, so it's not that I'm against like new appliances and new things. It's just that I adore these old ones. I adore the slowness of it. I adore the charm of it, the nostalgia. Everybody's nostalgic for a time that's gone by, and this sort of takes me there, cooking on this. Actually, it's really brilliant. I have a fridge outside. I have another stove that I'm going to get installed eventually when I get the kitchen remodeled, which is a wood cook stove, and hopefully I will be using that wood cook stove in the future to cook on. It's also certified to heat around 1,500 square feet, so it'll handle the bottom part of my house here of keeping it hot and being able to cook on it in the winter. And obviously I wouldn't use it in the summertime because it'd probably run me out of the kitchen. It'd be so hot. Nobody needs a wood fire going in the kitchen, but eventually I'll have that going too. Choosing to cook slower and to be slower and to live purposely and to live by choices, choosing things, choosing what's good or better or brings me joy it's not for everybody, and hopefully I'll inspire some of you guys to maybe pick or choose 2 or 3 things that you feel like it's valid to do it. But that's sort of where I'm at and where my lifestyle is at, moving back here and doing some of the things that I'm doing. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the links below. Please do comment on this if you watch it. I love getting feedback. And please subscribe and tell your friends to subscribe if they haven't, and follow along. We'll be doing more cooking videos, more gardening videos, more home videos, and hopefully you guys will enjoy following along and seeing what my life is here in a small town in South Carolina. This probably, yep, it's boiling. So now that that's boiling, I'm gonna turn this down to just simmer. I'm gonna let it go for about 5 more minutes and then turn it off and let it sit for maybe a half an hour, and we'll come back and we'll check it. But I won't make you guys wait that long. I'm gonna stop filming and we'll come back to it later and check it out. Hi guys. So the rice was cooked on high for about 10 minutes, turned down to low for another 5 minutes. I turned off the heat completely, just let it sit here. It's been cooking, it's been on here, I'd say 25, 30 minutes at this point, maybe 40 minutes. I sat down with Dad for a while and kind of forgot about it, so I'm not sure exactly how long. It's fine. The pot's still warm. We open it up and stir it up. It is a good steaming pot of rice. It's all flaky and it's not stuck together. It's just nice pot of jasmine rice. This is going to cool down. I won't be eating this tonight. I just wanted to go ahead and show you guys how to cook it. I'm going to let it cool down completely, put it in the fridge. We're going to be making one of my favorites later this week. It's a bacon and egg stir-fried rice. Very simple recipe, really, really quick. And if you like fried rice, you're going to love that recipe. So thank you guys for coming along today to Jamie's house and checking out what was happening in Jamie's kitchen. So I'll see you guys real soon. Bye.